We recently had a client who asked us about whether or not we could import some of their Figma designs into their internal portal that they were trying to build. And I was like,
Dude, please. This is no code.
but then I remembered that JetAdmin, little system that I reviewed last year, had something about this. I reached out and they said, you know what, we would like to sponsor that video. So today we're going to be taking a look at how to import your custom Figma designs into your JetAdmin portal. I've just logged into my Figma account. I have connected it to Airtable, and the idea is that I want to import one of my Figma designs, this little card gallery sort of thing, into Figma. And I want to use it to display my Airtable records with this design. It's actually quite simple. You have to do this a few times to kind of like get the hang of it, but it's fairly straightforward. First and foremost, the thing that you kind of need to do, obviously, is to log in jetadmin.io, check that out, and then jump into your instance. Now, in here, I basically want to introduce some of my data. There's many ways to do this, but this is how I like to do it. So I'm just gonna introduce a gallery, like so. I'm just gonna jump into Airtable, and I wanna basically bring in the data. So I'm just going to bring in my deals, and as you can see, they are displayed in the classic way that Jet typically displays their gallery data. Just gonna jump back, and I'm gonna press plus, and I'm going to create with designer. I'm going to import from Figma, and I get this little code. All right, so we copy this, and I'm going to jump back to Figma, open up my plugins. If you don't see JetAdmin export, that's completely fine. Just jump into manage plugins, look for JetAdmin export, click on it, and paste in the key and press continue. It says no selection, so we need to basically select the article and then press export selection. Jumping back into this, I will refresh this, and there was one import at 10:04 a.m. So this is the import that we need to deal with right now. So I'm just going to press import. Perfect. Layer was successfully imported. Now, what we need to do is we need to basically work with a few of our parameters. Now, if I jump in here, I have a lot of these parameters, and it's kind of important that you chuck some of them away and keep some of the ones that you're going to be using for this particular component. Why? Because a lot of our data in Airtable usually contains tens, if not hundreds, of fields. You don't want all of that clutter for a very specific reason. And that reason is, in JetAdmin lingo, is binding. Binding in normal no-code lingo is kind of like syncing. So in other words, we're gonna create the binding later, the syncing of our data for this particular table, i.e. deals, later. But for now, we just want to make sure that the fields that we have, because right now we have just 11 fields, we are going to be using just the fields that we kind of need. I would say like things that you don't need, like add to sync. I'll never need this. Lead tracker, probably will never need this. Client update, like all of these fields, I will probably not need. When I'm happy with it, I can then finally go ahead and like name this component. So let's say deals Figma comp, and press create component. Now, the next view that I see is that binding thing. If you are a little bit clumsy like me, and you decide to click out of this, and you lose this, and you're stuck with something like this, and you're like wondering, what do I do? Just jump back in, press on this change data binding, and you're gonna be greeted with exactly the same thing. What we need to do is we kind of like need to now match. And this is the reason why we needed to delete all of those fields. It's because now you have to manually match what exists in your database versus what are the parameters of your Figma components. I'm just going to do this very quickly. Deal name, description, blah, blah, blah. USG, logo, created, and URL. Perfect. So use select and binding, and you're thinking, that's it. Great. Done. Where's my data? So there's a little bit more that we need to do. And that is specifically the fact that you actually now need to jump into the JetAdmin Figma designer, or the component designer rather, and actually map those parameters into your design. Let's just jump in. So customize with designer, and we have this almost Figma-like version of the stuff. So let's say I want to work on my Vox thing. So Vox is down here. Well, actually I want to work with climate change. So I want to change climate change to display the name of the deal. All you have to do is just select the piece of text and use a formula. And here I can just search for deal name, and that's awesome. That's basically it. Stream Hive Media Expansion is one of my records. It's this one over here. All I have to do is just continue doing the same thing. Special types of components like an image field, like this one, you can't just like click into them. You have to go into like the fill. And over here, you can see how JetAdmin already pre-populates something in. I'm just gonna remove that. Formula, URL formula, and my logo URL is this one. And now you can see how you get SpaceX. Now, if I was to check out StreamHive, I do get this URL with SpaceX's logo. Now, it's important to note here, you can't just use attachment fields, which is a bit of a bummer, and I'm gonna cover that a little bit later on. But let's continue with setting up. So we have content, we have more here. So title, it's this one. I'm going to actually map in the deal size, 75 million. This is clearly a description field, so let's just remove all of that. And we're going to use formula, and we have our description. Yeah, as you can see, it kind of looks a little bit sloppy here. What I need to do is just make it a little bit less big. And I really love how much control I have over this. And I'm also gonna remove the truncation. So now I basically have all of my fields in there. When I'm ready, save changes, and voila. Anytime that I need to make a change, I can just jump into the Figma card component and just edit all of the stuff that I need to edit without CSS, without any of that, almost like I'm inside of Figma. Now, at this point, I would like to thank JetAdmin for sponsoring this video. Go ahead and check them out. Beautiful little system. Really a huge fan of it. Link in the description below. It's time for my honest take. Yes, this is yet again another sponsored video, but my opinions are my own, and Jet doesn't really care what I say about this. Here's a few things that I liked and some things that I didn't like. Number one thing that I liked was the fact that this is actually possible. How awesome is that? And it's really kind of a known feature. I've not really heard of other front-end portal builders that are able to do it. I really, really like the fact that it's actually now possible with Jet. The second thing that I really liked is the fact that it works seamlessly. I managed to do this on my first attempt. I'm not a power user of Jet, by no means, but I know my way around no code, and it basically worked for somebody who's a newbie. Now, the third thing that I really liked was the fact that Jet's YouTube channel really helped with this particular implementation. Bottom line is that Jet really clearly has taken the time to iron out a lot of these things, because I've seen new implementations of features at a much smaller scale by other builders where things don't go exactly to plan. In this particular case, this is a very large feature with a lot of depth, with a lot of controls that has been implemented perfectly. Some of the things that I don't like. Number one, the first time that you're going to be doing this, you're going to be frustrated. Because although the YouTube channel really helped, I can't really say that the videos were totally up to date, and a lot of the stuff didn't fully make sense. So you're gonna have to improvise quite a little bit. The second thing that I didn't like, and I've spoken to them and they said that they're working on this, it's the fact that I can't use Airtable attachment fields as URLs for images. If you're going to be using Airtable, just be prepared for the fact that you might have to like clean up your data a little bit and include static links to images for those pretty images that you saw. Now, of course, I'm kind of like nitpicking, but it's a real thing. Yeah. Keep that in mind. Thank you so much for watching this little demo of the JetAdmin component builder. Really hope you've enjoyed this. I think this is really a revolutionary little feature, which I hope other front-end builders for Airtable and of course other databases will start to think about, because we need this sort of thing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.